Hey everyone, welcome. Today we're going to talk about something that is absolutely essential for your success at university, the scholarly journal. Let's dive right in.
All right, picture this. You're sitting in class and your professor says you need to find peer-reviewed sources for that big essay that's coming up. You've probably heard this phrase before, right? But what does it actually mean?
Well, the answer is actually pretty straightforward. When they say peer-reviewed, they're almost always talking about one thing: articles from a scholarly journal. Learning how to use these is a huge step toward getting great marks.
But, okay, what is a scholarly journal? The easiest way to think about it is like a really professional magazine. Seriously. But instead of articles about movies or sports, it's packed with the latest research from top experts in a certain field, like biology or economics or computer science.
Okay, let's move on. Let's say you found an article that looks perfect for your paper. How do you know if it's the real deal? Well, first, we need to check its identity. It really comes down to two simple things: the who and the when.
The very first thing you're going to look for is something called metadata. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but don't worry, it's not. It's basically just the article's ID card.
Yep, that's all metadata is, the key information that identifies an article. And you'll almost always find it right at the top of the first page, or sometimes at the very bottom. It's your first stop for getting the basic facts.
And checking this stuff is super easy. You're really only looking for two key things here. First up is the date. Knowledge moves fast, so for most topics, you'll want research from the last 5 to 10 years to make sure it's not outdated.
Okay, so you've checked the date. The second thing you're looking for answers the question, who wrote this? You'll see the author's name, of course, but you need to look for another key word right next to it. That word is affiliation.
So what's an affiliation? It's just the university or the research center where the author works. When you see a name like Harvard University or maybe the World Health Organization, that's your proof. It tells you this person isn't just some random blogger, they're a professional expert in their field.
All right, so now we know who wrote the article and when, but what really makes the information in a journal so much more trustworthy than, say, a random website? Well, there's a secret ingredient, and it's all about quality.
I mean, it's a good question, isn't it? Anyone can post anything online these days. So why are your professors so insistent that you use these journal articles? What makes them the gold standard for your university essays?
The answer comes down to one incredibly important process. It's called peer review. And this, right here, is the biggest reason scholarly journals are so trusted. It's a whole system designed to make sure only the best, most accurate research ever gets published.
Think of peer review as the ultimate quality check. Before an article gets published, the journal sends it out to be secretly checked by other experts in the exact same field. These other experts are called the author's peers. That's where the name comes from. So here's how it goes down. A researcher finishes their work and submits it to a journal. Then the editor sends it to like 3 or 4 other experts who act like detectives. They secretly check everything: the logic, the evidence, the math. If the article is solid, it passes the test and gets published. But if they find big problems, it gets rejected. It's a really tough process, and that's exactly why we can trust what makes it through.
Okay, so now you know how to find a top-quality, peer-reviewed article. Awesome. But let's be real. You're a busy student, right? You've got a lot to read. So now we're going to talk about the single best shortcut for doing research without wasting your time.
And here's the thing about these articles. They are long, like really long. It's totally normal for them to be 20 or 30 pages of very detailed, sometimes difficult information. There is no way you have time to read every single word of every article you find.
So, what's the secret? Here's the pro tip that's going to save you hours of work. Before you read anything else in an article, you always read the abstract first. Trust me, this little paragraph is about to become your new best friend.
So what's an abstract? It's just a short summary of the entire article, usually only about 200 words, and you'll always find it right at the very beginning, just below the title and the author's name. Its job is to give you the whole story in just a minute.
A good abstract will tell you 3 things, super quick. Number 1, the research question. Basically, what problem were they trying to solve? Number 2, the methodology. How did they study the problem? Did they do an experiment, a survey? And number 3, the findings. What was the final result? What did they discover?
And this is maybe the most important advice in this whole explainer. If you read the abstract and it doesn't sound like it's a perfect match for your essay topic, just stop reading. Seriously, close the article and move on to the next one. This one trick will save you more time than anything else.
Phew, we've covered a lot, haven't we?
We know what a scholarly journal is, why we can trust it, and how to read one without wasting time. So let's put it all together into a super simple checklist you can use every single time you do research.
Here it is, your 4-point checklist for any article you find. First, ask yourself, is the date recent enough for my topic? Second, does the author's affiliation show they're a professional expert? Third, is the journal peer-reviewed? And finally, number 4, does the abstract show that this article has the evidence I actually need? If you can say yes to all 4 of those, you've got a winner.
And before we go, here's one last pro tip to make your life even easier. When you're searching in your university's library database, look for a little checkbox. It will probably say something like peer-reviewed or scholarly. Click that box. The database will do the work for you, filtering out all the websites and magazines and only showing you the good stuff.
So, there you have it. You are now ready to dive into the world of academic research. You've got the tools, you've got the checklist, you've got the strategy. The only question left is, what amazing new thing are you going to discover first?